I mentioned we had some breaking news coming up, and I just got to get it back up here on my phone. So I get to ring the bell. Official statement from the Riders coming out today. They have signed a practice roster quarterback. Interesting. American quarterback Justice Hansen joins the Riders after most recently spending time on the San Diego Chargers practice roster. Fresh off a very successful 3-season collegiate career at Arkansas State as a senior, he threw 3,400 yards, 27 touchdowns, yada, 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 yada. I'll just throw it out there. What does this mean, Jason?
Well, we've been waiting on this guy. He's starting in the West Final for sure. No doubt about it.
Fajardo's hurt. But it will, and you can see where this goes. You grew up in this province. You've played in this province. You continue to live in this province. Fajardo must not be able to play. Is that and you laugh at it. But you can see where there's going to be people that make this comparison.
Oh, they sure will. Real quick, too.
Because they only have 3 quarterbacks on the roster, Isaac Harker and Bennett. This is not a move for that, is it?
No, it's obvious that it's past the trade deadline, or they had traded Fajardo, right, by now, because he's obviously not able to play.
Yeah.
So they brought this guy in, and he's definitely going to start.
Whole
new offense coming in.
This is not an uncommon move at this time of year, is it?
Guys are just going to come in now and have a look-see to see if they're going to bring him into camp for next year.
Does it bother you he's coming here?
Does it bother me? I could care less.
No, but seriously, come on. When you look at it from a team point of view.
When you're playing.
Does it surprise you?
No, like I said, when you're in those, I mean, it's been a while since we've had a West Final here, but when
you were in it,
when I was in it, we were in it in I think 2009.
Star of the game,
'09,
and
you won the game.
No, that was 2010, but we
it was a semi.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders brought in a lot of guys in the playoffs just to have a look-see, guys to have an idea whether they're going to come into camp the next year.
Why do it at this time of year as opposed to, is it just simply because
you have time?
The staff is here, everybody's here, as opposed to doing
you get a good look at the guy more so when you win it in the spring?
You just have a decision whether you're going to bring him in spring or not at all, right? Like you have a good look-see, and you're able to do some extra reps with them, and lots of times it's DBs and receivers, and you're just trying to get a good idea. This is an American player who has done well down there. Let's bring him up and introduce him to the Canadian game, and if he's a guy who we see is going to fit, then we bring him back the next year.
Is it twofold? Is it, it's hard to get some reps right now, obviously, if you're these guys. I mean, they can work them out after or however that works. Is it part of just getting to know the guy, seeing him in a film room, just seeing how he reacts with other players, just kind of that sort of thing too?
Well, I don't think it's like a meet and greet. I think it's like essentially they want to see what he can do.
They
want to see what he can do, see how he can adapt to the game, see whether that wide side out, can he throw it on this Canadian field, all those types of things.
Right. It's just a pretty nuts and bolts procedure.
If Corey couldn't play, would he be dressed? If Cody couldn't play, would he be dressed?
See, I told you, Jason. This is the questions that are going to be out there now.
Cody's playing. I mean, come on.
It's not a concern.
You make me feel good. I mean, that would be awful if you can't.
I just, unless something happens, there's a massive setback in the next week. I mean, but if it's all things, I just don't see this not being you
right.
don't get to this point as a professional athlete not having played through pain and not wanting to be the guy. I mean, wanting the ball to shoot the 3-pointer. You want the kick. Brett Lawther, he's sitting there thinking, I want to have the ball in my foot at the end of the game. I mean, that's the mentality. But anyways, the Riders signing to the practice roster, Justice Hansen, quarterback, 6'4", 224. Big boy. So we were talking, as this came out and during the break, I mentioned, John asked, when would you announce that Cody is going to play? And you're confident that they are. And I said, why would you ever announce that he's going to play? At this point of the year, the other team's going to assume he's going to play, and it shouldn't be hard for them to game plan, whether it's Fajardo or Harker, in my opinion, but I don't know a whole lot, like I said, when it comes to X's and O's. Do you see a whole lot of difference in game planning for whoever the Riders play when it comes to game planning against Harker versus Fajardo? I mean, to me, they both kind of drop back, but they do both have the ability to scramble, but that's not their first and foremost go-to.
I don't think it's going to matter, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like that offense runs well, but the strength lies in how well the defense is going to play. And that defense causes turnovers and flips the field. And if they're able to manage just a short field, it doesn't matter who they're playing against, whether it's Harker or Fajardo or Hansen in there at quarterback, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Now, this 2-week thing off, do they go away home for a week, or are they all hanging around Regina?
I think most guys are going to hang around Regina. It's fairly expensive and inconvenient to go home for a week. And I know that when I played in BC and we would host the West Final, there was always a policy of not taking off because you never knew whether there'd be travel interruptions and those types of things and troubles of getting a guy back in time.
Who was the guy in Winnipeg that he didn't come back here a week ago?
Yeah.
Their linebacker.
That's right. He didn't come back. He chose not to come back.
That's an anomaly.
That's one thing I always thought about. What if a guy doesn't come back? That never happened with the Riders, did it?
I don't know.
You guys are always straight.
What do you do? What do you do on the week off? I mean, you're in your mind, it's like I got to stay sharp. I got to do all these, but the body has to really enjoy having a bit of time away from the turf as well. How do you kind of manage both those things? Especially this isn't a week 5 bye.
Right.
I mean, this is a different week off.
Yeah, it's different now though. I mean, practices used to be a lot more physical than they are now.
Yeah.
And so I think that just the in-season management of trying to maintain players' health is a lot further along than it was back when I was playing in the early 2000s. And so that was very much a very needed rest week when you got it. A lot of cold tub, a lot of hot tub, a lot of lightweight working out and jogging and running, and then obviously you'd have light practices and those types of things. But I think that guys they just are able to mentally just dial it back a bit now, and they can watch film on one team today. They can watch film on Winnipeg today and watch film on Calgary tomorrow, and have a better leg up on game planning for whichever team they end up having to play.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot less practice time nowadays, eh?
Yeah.
Is that good?
It is, but they're also smart about it. I mean, that beautiful facility that we have on Elphinstone Street, they've built it so that players want to stay there. And so you're mandated by the collective bargaining agreement of the Players Association as to how many hours you can have the guys and what types of days and those types of things. But if you make the environment a welcoming environment, that they have access to good food, they've got great training equipment there, they've got great lounges for the guys to hang out and watch TV and game film and all those types of things. You create that environment, and so you're mandated your 4.5 hours a day, but those guys will stay a lot longer if they can hang out and do something, and you got access to them then.
I got to ask you this. Stupid question, so you can hit me if you want to. Stadiums. I think ours is just about the best in the CFL.
Yeah, I don't know that I've been to all of the new ones. I feel like I've been to Winnipeg, I felt the concourse was a little bit crowded. I know the concourse was crowded for the Heritage game, for the hockey game.
Right.
But at the Rider games, it seems to be really convenient. It seems to be able to shelter the wind a little bit. Could use a roof. But that's a topic for
preaching to the choir here, I think, Jason.
Yeah, but it's an amazing facility, and honestly, the athletes nowadays are just absolutely spoiled by what they're able to do there. So it's awesome.
Is there extra nerves being the host of the West Final as a player?
I don't know that there's extra nerves, and I know I listened to a radio interview with John Ryan this morning, and Michael Ball asked him. He said, "Do you get nervous for? You've played in a Super Bowl.
Sure.
Do you get nervous for a Canadian Football League West Final?" And he said, I get nervous for a preseason game.
Of course.
Your preparation doesn't change. It's all about how important is it to you. And I think that having a care level, no matter what the situation, is very important. So I don't think that there's a level of, you're now more nervous.
Right. Second, having the 2 weeks off. Is that really just super? Well, not playing.
Really just super.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
I concur.
100%.
100% really just super.
For you, and the last time the Riders hosted the West Final was 2009. You were part of that team.
Yeah.
Was it different for you knowing that you were on the back nine of your career? I mean, you knew that. And being a kid that grew up here. Was that different than the ones you hosted in BC to you?
Well, I was a key cog in the wheel in BC, and so my game preparation was different. Whereas, when I was here in 2009, I was shuffling back and forth, splitting time with Getzlaff at the interior receiver position, and sometimes playing out wide and backing everybody up at the same time.
Right.
Also playing a little bit more special teams and those types of things. So I always seemed to get a fairly good workload in all the playoff games when I played for Saskatchewan. But as far as the preparation was concerned, I had to prepare a little bit more because there were more things that I was doing. In BC, it was basically, I knew my job, and that was it.
Yeah. Did you, but those hours leading up to the game, did it feel different at all? Or was it was, this is game number, 120 in my career type of thing?
Well, athletes get in a routine, and my routine never wavered from when I played high school football to junior football to college football to professional football. So nothing changed, and as far as the preparation and those types of things, it didn't change. You just try to keep it consistent.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.